Hi, the purpose of this video is for parents rather than children. I thought that this might be a useful video for me to make just so that you can see why I'm making my teaching choices, why I'm doing the things that I'm doing within phonics, so that you can understand a little bit about the structure of it and the reasoning behind it, each part, and maybe just get a few helpful tips. So this is, I'm going to guide you through what I've done for Thursday's learning, just so that you can see. And you'll notice that I've put on here the 4 elements within the phonics session. So you've got review, teach, practice and apply. We'll start with review. Review is the part of phonics where you begin by thinking about what you've done before, and thinking about previous learning and how you're looking to consolidate that learning, and to make sure that your child is feeling confident and comfortable with some of the things that have gone before. Now, this part is very, very important because what you're also doing is you're trying to build those connections within your child's brain, those pathways within their brain where they're thinking about going to certain parts of their brain to retrieve certain information. And the reception curriculum is a curriculum where a big part of what we do is revisit certain skills over and over and over again, but in lots and lots of different contexts, so that those skills are really well learnt, that they're really well embedded, because they're real sort of core fundamental skills that will really support your child moving forward within their learning. So the review section is not to be sort of underrated, really, although it might seem that your child is looking at some content that maybe you think, oh, I know that they know this maybe is a little too easy for them. It's actually so important that they still engage with this, because some of the learning that I might have taught your child, say in November, if we were to leave that and not revisit and not review it, then they might really struggle to retrieve that information and to keep that fresh, say in February. So that's why it's important that we review all the time in just really short little snippets, so that your child can then really take that learning and just really consolidate what they're doing, but strengthen those pathways in their brain where they're sort of, if you imagine a runner and they're running all the way down to the end of the track to retrieve something, and then they're going all the way back, that is basically what they're doing every time in their brain when you're doing that review. Moving on to a teach section. So this is when you've then got your new objective. So it might well be that you're looking at a sound, whether you're looking at it, in terms of the phoneme, which is the sound, or the grapheme, which is how it looks, how it's written. It might be that it's that you're teaching a new animal word. It could be, as you move on in phonics, you start teaching things called blends and clusters and different parts of the sort of literacy curriculum in a way. So that very much is new learning. Practice is then trying to take that new learning and have a go at applying it within different contexts, and just having a practice of how that new learning is looking and how we can use that learning. You'll notice I've put on there my turn, our turn, your turn. So often I will use this within the practice session. So I will do a lot of modelling. So I'll be doing sort of the metacognition of me thinking out loud, me trying to model what a learner does when they're having a go at the challenges that they're doing. And sometimes I'll say, you know, this is your turn to be listening now, because what I want you to be doing is watching what I do as a learner, to be picking up some of those learning behaviours. Our turn is then often when we're working on something side by side, so we're doing it together. And your turn is where it's more about, okay, so, you know, we've looked at this as, you know, I've kind of held your hand through it. Now this is your chance to just have a go yourself, and see what it's like without having an adult helping you quite as much. The apply section is then that end of phonics part where there's more independent opportunity to see whether this new learning has been grasped. It can be about looking at the new learning within a different context. It can be looking at it as in you have a go more yourself, and the adult there's, you know, more of a you know, someone to draw on and support with aspects that you might need help with. But the apply section is very much a chance for us to see, as well as a bit of an assessment opportunity, how your child has got on in the session that they've engaged within. So I thought I'd just take you through Thursday's session so you can see why I've made certain choices. So here the review is to pick 4 animal words to try to write down. So what I would be doing is encouraging your child to be looking at some animal words that are really important, ones that we've already learnt before, and, you know, both through reading and through writing. But it might be that I'm looking to develop a little bit more speed and fluidity in terms of them being able to write those words down, because, you know, it's helpful if we're not taking a really long time to write down you know, a word like the, for instance. If we can be writing that down with a little bit more speed and confidence, and that's going to be really helpful moving forward. It might be as well that, you know, it might be that in terms of a reading focus, we might be looking at, say, the rabbit animal words, but we might, for our review, we might be dipping back into, say, the snake ones, because we're looking at just making sure that those are still really well learnt. The new learning, so you can see here now that we've got a digraph, we've got a new sound, and the new learning, you know, often we're using songs, so we're using music because we're wanting it to be kinesthetic. We're looking at doing actions with our body. When we're doing things, we're looking at the visual, so that we're seeing it. It's auditory as well, we're hearing it, we're talking about it. So little tiny questions like, oh, this one today, can you think of a place of worship that begins with a ch, ch, ch? So it's just thinking a little bit about you know, what is this new sound? Can we start to tie a little bit of something on it? So it might well be that, you know, you then talk about, oh, a church. Oh, have you been to a church? Oh, there's a church in Old Buckingham. And then you might just have a little conversation about that as well.